Hello, everyone. Welcome to this forum. I'd like to introduce the Blumbergs, the couple who lead the Triple Cities Hiking Club, which was founded in 1947. But not by them. They're not old enough yet. They're juniors. But I've been a member of it for several years. It's a wonderful experience, both in terms of the compatibility with the people that you meet, the variety of hikes. There are light hikes, there are more difficult hikes. They go all over the place. And it's a great source of camaraderie and, of course, wonderful exercise and seeing on all the unspoiled scenery there is within our region. And especially like to recognize Mary Lou McPhail, who's right over here.
Raise your hand, Mary Lou.
Just a youngin'. And she is on a lot of the hikes and has been certainly an inspiration to me, as well as she always tells me if I lead a hike that she leads from behind, so she's the sweep. But anyway, I want to put the floor up for the Blumbergs, who have so faithfully driven the hiking club ahead.
Well, thank you, Bruce. I'm Larry. This is Susan. Paul, then again, raise your hand, Paul. And Anna Kinney, our photographer. So now that Bruce has showed you, talked about half the things that we're going to talk about, we'll get started here. So our motto is go take a hike. All right. Thank you, Bruce, for bringing up the physical and mental benefits of being out hiking. So let me ask, do we have any hikers here? Ooh, okay. Well, I'm not going to call on everybody, but I saw your hand go up first. So tell us about your hiking experience.
Well, we used to live close to the Smoky Mountains, and so after church, we would just drive to the Smokies and hike.
Oh, beautiful.
Just be at it.
Did you ever get on the Appalachian Trail there? No.
I mean, not like serious, but yeah, it was part of the network.
Did you ever run into any bears?
Yeah, I mean, they would have. Well, if you were on the road, they would call them bear jams when everybody was stopping over.
Yeah.
but you did get to see them, especially the little cubs up in the trees. You can see them sometimes.
Oh,
But
nice.
I never ran into one on a trail.
All right, one other. Who else? Yeah.
Lived in Europe for 19 years. That says it all.
Were you in the Alps?
Yeah, the Alps and Black Forest. And I had a husband that had a whip behind me and just kept doing this.
Susan can identify with that.
Just keep walking. Yeah. Lost or not, just keep walking.
All right, and there is one other benefit to hiking that doesn't show on here, and as was pointed out to me a few moments ago, it is a carbon neutral exercise activity.
Lots of people have made new friends too, and especially I think Mary Lou's hiking lights. Opportunities for friendship.
So we have well over 300 people on our membership rolls. Fortunately for the hike leaders, not all 300 come out for the same hike. So typically we'll have between 10 and 25 people showing up for a hike, and it does depend a lot on what the weather is, where the hike is, whether it's a long drive or not, what type of hike it is, whether it's an easier or more difficult, that kind of thing. We do hike year round, which includes the winter, and in the winter time, whatever the conditions are, as long as we can drive there, we'll hike there. I want to point out our website triplecities-hikingclub.org. So if you can remember triplecities-hikingclub.org, everything that we're saying today, including this presentation, can be found on the website. It's got lots of information about hiking in general, as well as hiking with our club, including our club's calendar of hikes. And if you ever have any questions, you can always write to that address, contact@triplecities-hikingclub.org. Any questions at all, whether it's about the club or a club hike or hiking in general. And there's 3 of us who receive notes written to that address. I'm one of the 3, and I promise I will get back to you with an answer. Okay, we do have a variety of club hikes and activities, 4 general basic categories. The first one we call the hiking lights. They are our easiest and slowest paced hikes, and something that if you're just getting started with hiking is what we recommend you start out with. That gives you an idea of the kinds of things you need to bring on a hike, how you need to prepare yourself clothing wise for weather conditions and so forth. The hiking lights, we've got a lot of them. Every Wednesday, 10 o'clock, faithfully, they meet at Jones Park in Vestal for about an hour and a half hike. When this was proposed several years ago, my reaction was, Jones Park every Wednesday, week after week, that'll never last. People aren't going to want to go out week after week to the same spot. Well, how wrong was I? Because that's our, how would you describe the Jones Park hikes, Mary Lou?
Well, first of all, the reason I came, I joined the hiking club when I was 72. So do not use age as an excuse to start. And the Jones Park, it does meet the easier, slower pace and shorter distance. However, the terrain is not really hiking light. We have a dedicated group. We don't leave anybody behind. We go slowly when people need to go slowly. And it's great camaraderie. I think people turn up, even more avid hikers turn up just a couple hours right in town. You know, I'll get on with my day as soon as at noon. So our turnout has been very significant.
Yeah. So
Last Saturday, I led a light hike at the Vestal Rail Trail. Including myself, there were 34 of us. And one of the things that I was doing was I was trying to circle back from time to time, counting the number of group conversations that were going along the way. I mean, socially, it's proven to be a very positive experience for people.
extremely, yeah. Mary Lou mentioned she joined the club at age 72. That was 2 needs ago, by the way. They've both been replaced, and she's come back out like a gangbuster. So don't let a knee replacement slow you down is the message. Okay, so besides our hiking lights, our next level of hikes would be what we call our Sunday afternoon hikes. They're a more moderate, a little faster pace than what you would find on a hiking light, and a bit longer. The location will vary from week to week. Today's Sunday afternoon hike, for example, is out at Shenango Valley State Park. And those typically last 2.5 to 3 hours and will be about 5 miles in length. Then we get into our more difficult, more strenuous hikes. Saturdays we have generally also a full day hike in addition to the hiking light. So we're offering 2 different hikes on Saturdays. And these are a faster pace because we're going a farther distance and you need to move a little faster in order to be able to complete the hike. So they'll be anywhere from 4 to 8 hours long, 6 to 12 miles in length or so. And Bruce went on yesterday's Saturday full day hike. You want to say a few words about that one?
Yeah, that was down in the Catskills, North South Lake. And I tracked it on my phone altogether. It was just under 9 miles. We were on the trail for over 6 hours, and it was snowy there, down there. There was quite a bit of snow, slush and all. It was beautiful. And when we got to the summit, you're on this escarpment that overlooks the Hudson Valley. It was breathtaking. And there were, count,
I think there were 5 of you.
yeah, that was it. Yeah, there were five. There were 5 of us, including the hike leader. And those hikes allow you to kind of test your limits too. I thought last night, boy, I'm a little more sore than I ought to be. Well, I slipped and fell a few times too to compound it. I had micro spikes, but I wasn't smart enough to put them on. The next time I put them on, I probably wouldn't fall at all. But it's lovely, and it's scenic, and it's a great workout. And if you're looking for something to help you have a really good night's sleep, one of those Saturday full hikes will definitely do the trick.
And then we have weekend long trips. We'll either go to a campground like in the summertime and use that as a base camp and do day hikes from the campground area. Or in wintertime, we'll go to a cabin, heated usually, and do our day hikes from there. And we also offer occasional backpacking trips. In fact, the last weekend trip that the club offered was led by Paul. And if you want to say a couple words about what that trip was like.
Yeah, I think we had 8 of us on a trail in the Adirondacks called the Northville Placid Trail. So, full trails like 130 miles. We picked maybe 15-mile section for overnight.
Did you stay in a lean-to, or did you camp?
Good question. No, we camped. So we had a bunch of tents
Great.
that we set up out the campsite, a designated site in one of the lakes. Water, very scenic.
So the typical question we get is, where do you go to hike? Yes.
What speed do you call a fast pace hike?
A couple miles an hour or faster. 2.5 miles an hour.
2.5 and faster, 2.5 miles per
How
hour.
much ground do you cover in an hour?
Well, 2.5. A fast pace would be 2.5
Depends.
miles.
It
Yeah,
depends on.
But it depends on the terrain, because on the Vestal Rail Trail, you don't have to walk that hard, that fast to get 2.5 miles in an hour. But on the terrain that Bruce was talking about from yesterday, that's really difficult. The same 2.5 miles an hour would be very difficult in mountainous terrain, much easier on flatter terrain. So it's a hard question to answer.
Trails are like in the
I'm
mountains.
just trying to get an idea of what I'm used to as compared to what we.
Yeah, what would you say you are used to?
Well, when I lived in Pennsylvania, I just moved up here a couple of years ago. But we lived on a lake, second largest lake in Pennsylvania, naturally. And that was 4 miles, do that in an hour.
You're moving pretty fast,
But
but it was probably fairly level. Yeah.
one hill.
Yeah.
But, pretty basically.
Well, 4 miles an hour is, a 15-mile minute. And if you're a jogger, you don't do too much better than 15-minute miles, so.
Oh, it depends on who I was with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Most of our hikes are going to, not most, just about all are going to be a lot slower pace than what you're describing. But on the other hand, they're on more difficult terrain too. So you have to factor that in. 2 miles an hour on level, 2 miles an hour in the mountains are 2 totally different things. So it's hard question to answer until you really got to get into the details of it. So where to hike? This is a list of 12 destinations in Broome County that make up the Broome County Hiking Challenge. This was a cooperative project between our club and the Broome County Planning Department about 6 years ago. You can see the patch in the upper right-hand corner that you can earn by completing the challenge of hiking at these 12 destinations. So they range from state parks that a lot of people don't realize both Shenango Valley State Park and Oquaga Creek State Park touch just, they're right on the border, but they touch Broome County. So yeah, we're very fortunate to have two beautiful state parks in our own county. Yes.
For years, my husband and I had a bed and breakfast in Green, New York. Same thing, it touches Broome County,
Yeah.
but it's in Shenango County. So I had seen that when it came out, probably 1890. It was just pre-COVID.
Yes.
You had published this.
Yes.
So during COVID, about midsummer 21, people started traveling. And they were coming back to the bed and breakfast, but they wanted safe places to do things. So I printed out the maps, the guides, had a whole book that they could photocopy, take a picture of it, and I would send them out summer, winter. So a lot of the guests that came into this area that were just passing through but wanted a safe outdoor activity, that was a godsend.
Oh, can I give you a hug? That is great. We really appreciate your promoting this. So anyways, besides the two state parks, we've got a wonderful system of county parks, and 5 of them have been designated for the hiking challenge: Aqua Terra, Cole Park, Dorchester, Greenwood, and Hawkins Pond. So any familiar with any of those county parks? Like, yes.
State park, I go, of course.
Mhm.
Hike up there for
Oh, good.
5 mile circle.
Yep. And that the challenge for Shenango Valley State Park is to start at the beach parking lot and head north all the way to the tippy top where there's an overlook of the Shenango Forks, the confluence of the Tiapneoga and Shenango rivers. So I don't know if you've made it up that far. There's a little bench there that you can sit at.
Just be careful when you're going into the golf course.
Well, yeah. Now there's now we got there's plenty of trails there that you can avoid the golf course with.
For the historians in the bunch, you can see remnants of the Shenango Canal.
Yes, that's right.
There's actually a stone lock that's along the towpath.
Yeah. And then there's a couple town parks, Wolf Park and Jones Park, and then there's nature preserves behind SUNY Broome, behind the Binghamton University, and the IBM Glen. Lots of places beyond Broome County that we hike at. A lot of state forests. Then farther out, we've had the Finger Lakes Trail, the Catskill Mountains, and Adirondack Mountains. Talk a minute about the Finger Lakes Trail. It's a hiking trail that goes across southern New York from Allegheny State Park in the west all the way to the Catskills in the east. It's about 580 miles long. We are fortunate, if you can see where the trail makes a big arc. Binghamton is right at the bottom of that arc, so we have a huge percentage of the trail within certainly hour and a half drive. There's many, many miles of Finger Lakes Trail easily accessible from our area. All right, the most important part about hiking is making sure you are properly clothed. So the first comment is when you go hiking, you're not making a fashion statement. It's okay if your colors clash. We might point out when they blend together. Wow, you're color coordinated today. That's unusual. But anyways, I want to start showing some clothing.
Oh, I was gonna get my coat.
Okay. You want to, first rule is to avoid cotton. Can someone explain why you don't want to wear cotton when you're out hiking? Yes, please.
Insulation.
It loses its insulation. Why does it lose its insulation? Moisture, yes, because cotton absorbs moisture. So it's raining, you're sweating, it absorbs that water, becomes waterlogged, and water will not insulate. Water is a conductor. Water will suck the heat, your body heat, right out of you and make you cold. So we have some examples here of non-cotton clothing. Polyester and fleece and nylon are typical examples.
Puffy jacket, you can layer with fleece in the winter time. Wool socks, not cotton socks. There's liners, if you get blisters, they sometimes will help you put a liner on and then your cotton sock with your boot. Hiking boot. Now, what do you want to say?
Go ahead.
But like for a hiking light, if you don't have regular hiking boots, just to see what a sturdy shoe.
Yeah, especially if you're on paved surfaces, but I really like boots. For any up paved surfaces.
And Anna brought some, wool hat or a polyester hat and mittens that are not cotton. And these are in the winter time. Actually, these are good when you're out shoveling your driveway too. You don't have to just do it for hiking.
Those mittens have a little pocket where you can put in one of those packs.
Oh, you have not done it yet, but. You always should bring a raincoat even on the hiking light hikes, just in case it rains. It can also be if the wind picks up the ski windbreaker. And I have a rain hat, rain pants, but again, everything in plastic bags. Dry.
Good.
Does anyone else? The other two have any?
Would you have anything to add? Okay, bottom line, you want synthetic materials. Again, the fleeces, the nylons, polyesters, that's the type of materials you want for your clothing. And wool. Yeah, wool works well. Wool is old school.
Wool's kind of expensive. That's why fleeces have taken over.
One thing I'd like to throw in on the apparel side is that, oh, I see you've got them with you. Okay. When you're in slippery places, like where I was yesterday, I had a pair of boots very similar to these on, but soles were quite worn. And so it induced quite a bit of slipping. And I should have had my micro spikes on, because you could slip them right over your boots, and that's like four-wheel, gives you the automotive equivalent of four-wheel drive. But I didn't put them on, and so I slipped and fell. So
That is a good point about the soles. They're made with kind of a softer material because the soft material grips. It's like snow tires, but they wear quickly. So you're not going to get a lot of miles out of a pair of boots. Don't let that concern you. It's not you, it's the boot.
This would go, I won't put it on, but this would go in like this. And even on a short hike. And it really makes a big difference on hikes. Even in.
big difference.
Big difference.
So what do you need if you're going to go out on a hike? Now, if you're going for hour and a half long, you're not really going to need all of these things. But you're going out for half a day, especially a full day, you're going to want to have, of course, the proper clothing that we've already talked about. You're going to want to have a snack and or lunch as needed. Drinking water, that is very important. Can you give us an example of what a drinking water bottle looks like?
One that I carry a lot, and there's smaller ones like this. There's also people have nowadays,
Bladders.
Camelback.
So-
This water bladder, and then it's attached to your pack, or there's a little pocket plug to your pack and a little hose. So you can just drink as you're walking.
That is really helpful when you're going uphill and you're sweating a little bit and you need to drink, and you need to drink continuously. And that's so much more convenient to do it that way. But there's a lot of moving parts on the bladders, and so sometimes the bladder might develop a leak. And so when you say my bladder's leaking, you have to explain you're talking about your was, rich bladder.
When you're starting, just bring a
Yeah.
water bottle.
And any bottle will do.
Yesterday I had one each of the ones that you showed, one just like that, and one smaller one. And I completely drained them both by the end of the hike. I was looking for a refill.
Okay, you're going to want a pack to put all this stuff in, your water, your lunch and snacks, and some of these other things we're going to talk about. So you have a pack, you can hold up and that's about the perfect size pack that most people use. And you can see he's got, pardon? A day pack, yeah. Show him your hose or your.
See that goes to the bladder. It's a lot more convenient to think throughout the day. It is.
Show them the fanny.
Oh, yeah, some people, especially on the shorter hikes, you'll see these a lot. They have quick packs, you can store the essentials in there, maybe with a couple water bottles.
Hey, hiking poles. Bruce, do you find hiking poles useful?
Yes. Yesterday I only took one of my two with me. And there were a couple of times I thought you should have brought both of your poles.
Yeah.
The thing that's nice about the poles too is that the length is adjustable on them. You can make them longer, you can make them shorter, depending on the terrain. And going downhill, they're really handy to be able to put in front.
Yeah,
of
they
you.
act like a brake.
Yes. So they're really good to have.
Anna, do you have your full? Are they the women's? There's also.
Yeah, hiking poles come in two styles, men's and women's. The women's are, well, the colors, you're right, but more importantly, a little shorter, so they're a little lighter.
And here's. So, I use them when I walk around my neighborhood nowadays. So it doesn't have to be for a long hike. It can be a short walk.
Okay, first aid kit.
First aid kit.
Someone in the group really should have first aid supplies with them on a hike. What can go wrong? Blisters on the longer hike is a common occurrence. In the summertime, bee stings. We do run into ground bees, and someone steps on their nest, and when they talk about angry as a hornet, they are.
This is my first aid kit. Keep it in plastic in case it rains. Everything in plastic in my pack. And this has a lot of stuff in it, but here's a small one that is just Band-Aids and alcohol wipes and like Neosporin. I have Benadryl in my, we have gotten these things. Even on a short Sunday hike, someone tried to take a shortcut and banged her forehead with a stick. It was bleeding, just bled a lot. So we were able to patch her up and get her down. It wasn't serious, but it was not nice for her. And then there's sort of a middle-sized first aid kit for with you. Is that
Good. So any questions then on things that you might want to bring on a hike? How about food?
you can look in this packet now. I just first aid kit to see what there is.
Anna, what do you find to make for good snacks or make for trail lunches?
Well, I do not. But I'll usually carry almonds or walnuts or some mixed nuts.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to do more sugary things, but that's not.
A few M&Ms with them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
There's some, granola bars and kind bars you can bring fruit. With the fruit, you just want to remember like an orange or especially orange or banana peel, you carry in, carry out. You don't leave the peels behind because they don't degrade very quickly. So I always have a plastic bag for garbage. So, and sandwich for lunch if you were going for a longer hike.
Wraps hack well, as do bagels or any kind of hard bread, packs well. Okay.
Talk about tick.
Um,
Tick repellent.
Uh,
You think,
yeah, go ahead.
well, it was on your list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to, use some sort of a repellent against ticks, mosquitoes, et cetera. There's a lot of different kinds of the bottles on the table there.
Wanna hold those up?
Just depends on your preference. Some you put directly on your skin, some you do not. Some you treat clothing. The yellow bottle is for permethrin, and that you would treat with clothing. There's lotions, there's sprays, there's all kinds of different brands and different ingredients. Depending on what
We have a slide coming up about ticks, and you'll see a really good picture of the deer tick, which is the one that spreads the Lyme disease. So in summary, these are what they call the 10 essentials. And for the most part, I keep these things in my pack all the time. So whenever I grab my pack, it's already preloaded with these. Of course, the water I'll refill with fresh water. Light, headlamp. We don't always get called out after dark, but it can happen, especially in the wintertime. So here's an example of a headlamp. Okay, here's the ticks. The one on the left is the deer tick. It's got that orange body. Has anybody here ever seen a deer tick live and in person? And what was your experience with your deer tick?
It didn't get me, it got my husband. He attracted it. So in Europe, we just used to say, instead of using poisons on us, we put vinegar, we put spray vinegar and water on us, and they didn't like
Huh.
vinegar. But how many times did I take and fix on?
Yeah.
In bad places.
That's where they go. They go back.
So we have a website that we point out the CDC has probably the best, most accurate information, and it's constantly changing, especially as they learn more and more about Lyme disease. Has anyone here ever had Lyme disease? Oh, goodness. Well, go ahead. What was your?
I didn't know that I had the tick.
That's not untypical. Yes.
It wasn't even the bullseye. It was, sometimes people suffer with Bell's palsy. It was quite.
Yes.
Happens quite frequently. So that's how that ball started rolling there, and then it was just fine.
And were you given
Antibiotics.
doxycycline? Okay. Mary Lou?
I'm so very careful is undress and check my body with a mirror. And I was at a wedding at a campground. I wasn't in the woods. It was mowed and everything. And it was about 10 days later, I got out of the shower and I'm thinking, well, that's a strange thing on my upper chest. And it was the bullseye rash. So how diligent I was. And that was the obvious place. I was at a wedding. Oh, and I stayed at the campground, so there was no mirror to check in. And the shower did get a little warm after a while. So even being totally standing under, getting rinsed off was even possible.
So what we advise people to do when you get home from a hike is take your hiking clothes off, keep them separate from your other clothing, and just wash them by themselves. Taking a shower as soon as you can, it varies, but it typically takes a little while before the tick actually bites and embeds you. So it'll be crawling on you. And I have felt a number of ticks. I feel them crawling, and you're taking a shower and you see it and you can get it off you. So that's what I advise to do. And again, go to the CDC website and study up on what they say, educate yourself. Okay, the club has an email distribution list. It's hosted by Google. It's called a Google group, where hike leaders send out reminders ahead of each hike about their hikes with information over and above what is found on our calendar. So if you would like to be added to that distribution list, it's open to the hiking community as a service of the club. We don't require membership to be on our Google group. Just send a note to contact@triplecities-hikingclub.org and say you'd like to be added to the Google group, and we'll add you to it. And like I say, you get upcoming hikes, reminders about, gives you an opportunity to network with others. If you want to say you've got a Tuesday off and you'd like to go for a hike at Chenango Valley, you can put a note out. Anyone like to come along, let me know. And we oftentimes will post information that's of interest to hikers. Our hike schedule, like I say, is posted to a Google Calendar that we have on our website right at the very top. And the website again is triplecities-hikingclub.org. So and in fact, that's all you have to remember is triplecities-hikingclub.org, because information on writing to the contact address to get added to the Google group, that's all on the website. So if you just remember triplecities-hikingclub.org, all the information's there. And we do not check for membership cards at the start of each hike. Non-members are always welcome on our hikes. And you might want to get some inspiration from Henry David Thoreau here. Early morning walk is a blessing for the whole day. Oh, if anyone wants to go to the website immediately, you can take your camera and go use the QR code, and that'll open up the website directly. Is this to hand out? If anyone want to take this with them? Okay, so we hope to see you out on the trail, either as a club hike or just yourself getting out there or with a friend. And again, website triplecities-hikingclub.org. Any other? Yes.
Just wanted to add, I met Mary Lou because I joined the senior center.
Yes.
The senior has senior hikes.
Yes.
Which is a lot of your hiking
Yes.
community there. And those are only twice a month on Thursdays. And we've done the dinosaur parks, whatever.
The Broome County Park, yeah.
And they're very good hikes. Don't take long, and
So there's a plug for the,
it's light hike.
yeah.
And it's a nature trail too. Have someone, I can't think of his name, that they talk about trees and everything that's there. So it's more like a nature walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a naturalist.
Yeah.
He refers to himself as a naturalist with Tourette's syndrome. And my paraphrasing of that is Jeff has never met a weed he didn't like. Requires further exploration and exploration.
So it's very interesting. Always.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
He's really something. He'll be in the woods. He'll point something out growing on a tree, for example, and explain what it is, how that came to be. It's very informative.
And you'll find there's a tremendous amount of talent amongst the hikers in the hiking club, not only from a naturalist standpoint, but just understanding how to be a better hiker, how to be a better camper, information on the latest gear.
We have a natural.
And
Anna
Anna,
is very good at.
Yeah.
Identifying how things in nature too.
Yeah, so check the lovely pictures she's been posting.
Yeah.
It makes you want to go out and see everything yourself.
yeah, if you search on Facebook for Triple Cities Hiking Club, we do have a Facebook page and or Facebook group. I'm not sure which it is. Doesn't matter. But folks like Anna will post pictures over and above what the club is doing. And there's some really nice ones.
And Paul knows does a lot of the harder hikes and also knows a lot about the updated new gear that's coming out. It's always interesting to hear.
Yes.
Do people bring their dogs on these hikes?
No, and the reason is because of the number of people we have going on hikes. The club has had a very long-standing policy of dogs not allowed. So I'm sorry to say that, but it is a policy that is enforced, and we do ask that you leave your dog home. Yes. Oh, yes.
Just a comment, I have a place out by Dorchester Park
Uh-huh.
and would note that probably something that that they have recently opened the trail
Yes.
around the lake.
Yes. And we've had several hikes where it's about 9 to 10 miles all the way around the Dorchester, the Whitney Point Reservoir. We've had several hikes where we do either one side or the other side or the entire as a full day Saturday hike. Yeah,
Bruce led a hiking light.
Yes. Not too long ago.
It was on New Year's Day. Yeah.
No,
not New Year's Day.
No, it was a hiking light. We went out.
Remember at Dorchester, you went up a little bit and back and then over.
And then over the
dam.
dam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we went north,
That's right.
on the east side,
Yeah.
just a short distance until it got, more
Real
rough.
muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the individuals who were responsible for opening that up?
There was an organized group in Whitney Point.
Yeah, there was some people from the Rotary Club, and I met them once or twice. Yeah, they did a nice job, but the trail on the east side is
Kind of rugged.
it's rugged.
Very
Yeah,
wet sometimes,
yeah, very wet, especially after high waters. Anything else? Yes.
So back in the day, it was all about maps and compasses.
Uh-huh.
Are GPS adequate nowadays?
Yes, with a big caveat that your phone can run out of power. And if you're relying on an app that requires connection to the internet for your map, you oftentimes will find yourself without an internet connection. So it is a big caveat. So what we didn't have time to get into all that. That's a whole nother presentation on how to use your smartphone as your map. But it's so much easier these days when maps are available, through the internet right to your phone. In the days of yore, you had to go out and just, you had to buy them, but you had to find where to buy them. That was always the hard part. So there's been an explosion in mapping capability with
Printed these out up from the internet.
From the internet, yeah.
Greenwood. And this one is Otsoning Golf.
So we always do tell people to have a backup paper map with you. And packed in plastic, because invariably whenever Susan goes out hiking, it rains. So.
And the old fashioned compass.
Yeah, electronic compass, again, your phone can run out of power and you're out of luck. But
But
the,
your maps on your website are excellent.
oh, you looked at them.
Well, for the guests, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're, yeah. We've produced about a half dozen different maps, but we have links to many, many other maps. Yeah. All right.
How do you decide where you're going to be hiking, or do you do the same
Oh, that's-
hike all the time?
Now that is an excellent question. It's an excellent question because the person sitting next to you
Oh.
is responsible for coordinating that tremendous calendar of hikes that we have. So explain how we do it.
Well, we have a dedicated group of hike volunteers. Our board members are responsible for 8 hikes a year. And other people from the club will also volunteer to lead hikes. And they can choose where they want to go. And a lot of hike leaders have favorite places they want to go, or they may find new places that they want to explore and put those on the schedule. So popular places are Otsiningo, Jones Park, all the county parks, all the ones that are in.
Oh,
Broome County
yeah, the 12
Challenge.
hikes from the Broome County Challenge.
Saw that? So, but people will often, Paul could, has come up with new places to hike, and so it's.
Here's the 12 locations of the Broome County Hiking Challenge, and those are very popular spots that we go to.
But they also research, or experienced hikers will know of many places to go to.
And then some more popular places that we go to out over and above the hike challenge.
Then we've got a lot of state forests in the general area that are fun to go on. And then the Finger Lakes Trail, which Larry talked about before, is 580 miles long. And there's a section in Chenango County that we actually, our club is responsible for maintaining part of it. But it's a good place to hike also. So hike leaders may choose to go on part of that.
Do you know Julian Shepherd? Ask Julian about the one up in Chenango County.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he used to be one of the hike.
He was a very long time trail maintainer for us there, yeah. Now, how do you know Julian?
We see them with that there, but
Okay.
they stayed at the bed and breakfast
Oh.
as well, and he took us up and showed us.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trail doesn't go far from Green.
Do you, Paul and Anna and Mary, do you have anything else to add about the hiking?
It's got some,
And one other thing, we have an annual picnic too.
Oh.
And that's, this year it's, October 5th, 6th, excuse me. At the Green Lions Club. It'll be the picnic grounds in Green, the 3rd year we've had it there. It's been great. We have usually a triple-digit number of people who show up for it. We have catered food, and people bring food. It's a really nice event. And talking about food, oftentimes after a hike, there's a question of, hey, would anyone like to go to lunch? This is a, hiking light typical thing. When I led a hike at the Vessel Rail Trail a week ago, so I said there were 34 people, and then 20 went to lunch. At the Skylark Diner at Vessel, we went and filled the place up.
We're supporting local restaurants.
I'm going to bring up
Excuse me, but for someone who is not a real hiker, you like to walk, but do you have the difficulty of the hike, or do you have, is it a surprise when you get there?
no, well, I'll show you right now. Let me share the screen for the folks at home. This is our website, and the very first thing on the homepage is the hike calendar. It's a Google calendar, but it will describe the hike in exactly the terms you're looking for. So we'll take an example of, yeah. There's a hiking light this coming Saturday. at Oakley Corners State Forest. And we provide here a map of where to find the trailhead, where to park at that intersection. And
Just
how,
click out, X out of that. Just-
yeah, I'm not used to how do I get out of this map?
I think move the picture of the.
Well, that could be. There we go. Okay. So is there a way to open?
No, if you can move that, you can't move that to the middle. No,
Oh, that didn't help.
you have to go, just go back to the.
Okay. I was trying to figure out how to make this full screen, but anyways, gives the meeting location, and it also provides the name of the hike leader and an email address for the hike leader, so you can write to him for more information. And it says me all the details. And here you go. It's a gentle to hilly terrain, but that is so judgmental and subjective. And what is gentle to hilly in an area here compared to gentle to hilly in the Adirondacks are two totally different things, even though they're described the same way. So we do caution, and you kind of have to learn. You know, you go on a hike like this and you learn, okay, that's when they say gentle to hilly, that's what they mean. It's hard to describe, but once you experience it, you'll know what it is.
It's best, you could call the leader. Too.
That's the best.
Yeah, the best thing to do.
But even still, you need to reference it to some experience that you've had. It's very hard to explain
Now, what you can
otherwise.
start out is to look for the hikes at Otsingo.
Yeah, I have them there.
And you could go on the hiking light and the rail trail.
Most,
Rail trail, yeah.
yeah, most of the hiking lights, you would not have a problem with. And then like this hike that's next Saturday is projected to be about 3 miles. But again, what does 3 miles mean? It's two different things in the mountains. 3 miles versus 3 miles on a rail trail are two different things, even though they're still 3 miles each. So, and then there's some boilerplate reminders that appear with each hike, and also the contact address. If you can't get hold of the hike leader, for example, you can always write to the contact for information.
I think it's important to note, to say, with lack of the subjectivity of distance, terrain, and so on, and that we don't leave hikers behind.
Right.
And my mantra is, no one is allowed to go more slowly than I. And so instead of someone worrying that they're gonna hold people up, no, you don't hold people up, we accommodate.
Yeah.
Now, I think when you're going to the Adirondacks, just saying Adirondacks implies a different level
Yeah,
of skill.
I wouldn't be going there.
but even still, there are hiking lights available in the Adirondacks, and depending on the design of the trip and what the hike leader is laying out, there can be a hiking light, something for all levels. Again, it's best to contact the hike leader.
But no one gets left behind.
Right.
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
We're allowed 10%.
Yeah, there's a running joke, if you lose 10% on a hike, you got 20 people, you can lose 2. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Never see any there.
Except when Bruce was being so diligent, I was the sweep for his Chenango Valley hike. And so he came back, he's checking and make sure everybody's, okay and so on. And he said, so everybody here? And I said, yeah, so I turned around and looked behind me. I thought he might have a stroke. Anyway, he recovered beautifully.
But you notice all of the hikers here have brought poles, and poles are really
Helpful.
helpful, whatever level hike you're on.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, it's something you wanna really consider. It just, my balance isn't so great anymore, and it really helps. It just really makes a big difference in how well you can hike or even walk on the flat surface. So keep these in mind.
So as the stand-up comedians always say, you've been a great audience. Thank you. We will be around, obviously packing up and putting things away. So if you want to stay and chat some more or look around, please do.
Thank you so much for coming.